The shipping industry took off this decade as freighters and tankers clogged ports from Singapore to Shanghai. But amid the frenzy of global trade, the industry may have overbuilt, leading to too many ships on the waters. We spoke to the head of Thailand's biggest shipper, who says that building boom will make for a difficult 2010.
If you look at demand, it sort of came off in 2009 as compared to 2008 by roughly about 4%. And if you look at the predictions that are there for demand growth for 2010, it varies from a low point of about 4% growth to about a high point of about 10% growth. Now, if you look at the supply side, on the other hand, between 2008 and 2010, supply is set to grow in 9 and 10 by at least a total of about 16%. Now, wow. So you have on one side demand growth of between 4 and 10%, and on the other hand, you've got supply growth of between anywhere between say 14 and 16%. So I think that 2010 would be a very challenging year.
So it's a 5 to 10 point gap. I mean, now the BDI, the Baltic Dry Index, essentially is a measure of shipping, commodity shipping costs, and you are a bulk ship carrier. I mean, what does it mean for the profitability of your company if you're looking at freight rates again going down all the way to, you know, to the 1,000 plus level, which is way lower than the 3,000 plus for the BDI today?
Well, it all depends on if your company is exposed to the spot market. So yes, if all my ships were open on the spot market, then yes, I would fluctuate quite terribly, and I would have a very, very difficult time trying to explain why my revenues kept falling or kept rising in very short intervals, because this would all be market linked. On the other hand, with Precious Shipping, we always fix our ships as much as we can in advance. And when we do that,
you're making money
the
this year?
Stream becomes much more. Yes. We are very profitable this year.
And next year?
You know, so there's. You know, we normally don't make forward-looking statements, so I would not like to comment on next year's profitability. But I can just say this much, that the capacity of the company, we began this year with 44 ships. We're going to end this year with something like 24 ships, or maybe even 23 ships. So basically, we've sold a lot of ships during this year, and therefore, capacity-wise, next year will be much lower than our capacity for this year, provided I do not buy second-hand replacement ships. Now, we've already started that by buying one ship.
So essentially, you're cutting capacity by half, and so that will keep the profitability for the company.
Yes, and like I said, provided I do not replace these ships with second-hand purchases from the market. We've already started that process, and we made public announcements and statements to say that all these ships that we are selling on the second-hand market, we will replace by younger, larger, and more economical units from the second-hand market over the next 12 to 24 months' time.
You know, Mr. Hashim, like a year ago at this time, you know, global trade was just falling down around our ears. I mean, you know, anecdotally, you know, you have ships sent out to lease. I mean, what is the state of the global economy in terms of the global trade at the moment compared to where we were a year ago?
Well, global trade has improved significantly since Q4 last year. In Q4 last year, you must not forget, there were some very significant events that took place. You had Lehman Brothers collapsing on the 14th of September. You had Merrill Lynch being taken over on the 15th of September. And then thereafter, you had a host of big banks and insurance companies all struggling. Now, when such a cataclysmic event takes place, you must also remember that it results in people not being able to trust banks, and more importantly, banks not trusting other banks. And that's what led to a complete shutdown of trade finance. And that's why demand fell off a cliff, literally, in the fourth quarter of last year.
Khalid Hashim, Precious Shipping CEO, speaking to us from Bangkok.